generation of the Ford Mustang has surely put a lot of smiles on people's faces and also on the enthusiasts' faces. This generation is a good-looking car. It catches people's attention still very well, even though it has a couple of years on it. It feels like this is a car that always draws your attention and turns your head, just like a 911 does. But the Mustang does it with another type of attitude, a more raw attitude, especially with that V8 rumble. That V8 rumble in the background all the time. It's just a very cozy place to be. It feels very American, but it puts a smile on your face. It feels like you're one of the more muscular cars on the road, because 5-liter V8 naturally aspirated, there's not that many of them around. That distinct V8 sound, but also the look of it. It's like it's in the DNA of people, you know, they know what a Mustang is. It's a super popular sports car, just like a Porsche 911, you know. You just turn your head as they pass by because they're a joy to look at. And I think this one looks good. The new one, well, we need to have a closer look at that one when it arrives, but this one still feels really good. It's been around for a while now, since 2015, but it doesn't feel that old. Might want some update in here. The Mustangs has never been precision tools when it comes to sport cars. They haven't been that sharp. But when this 6th generation came to market, it was a lot better in that area. But I always say that I find a car that is a bit more difficult, that isn't that unforgiving. That's the thing, and that's the thing that is fun on racetrack, on normal roads, and a car that you need to really progress with. Because if you like driving well, then you should always be set with a challenge. It's on its way out. The 7th generation has come, not yet to Sweden, so we're still waiting for that one. So we just want to sum it all up, and why not do it with this Mach-1? And this Mach-1, it's supposed to be the most track-focused car. Of course, it's a couple of steps below the Shelbys, especially the GT 500. The GT 350, well, it should replace that one, and it replaces the GT with the performance pack as well. Still, when you drive in normal, sport, and even track, it feels rather okay, even when driving on normal B roads. The thing that happens is that, well, it floats a little, and it's a bit unsettling when you start pushing it a bit faster. But even so, there we are again. That's the challenge about it. And this Mach-1, it really packs together all of these great things that almost drips down from the GT350 and the GT500, those Shelby versions. It's not as hardcore in its approach and aura and look. These cars, they have supercharged engines, so they become a bit more mustard. But this sound and this engine and the response it has feels really good. And that good thing about this car is that it has some poise when you really want to take it for a little spin, be a bit more engaged in your driving. It is not a BMW M3 or a Porsche 911, of course. It hasn't got that sharp feel. That's just what it is. And it's not really meant to be, but it can surprise you, because when you put in the effort to this car, you a bit, and it's a bit more fun to struggle a bit with a car that isn't that perfect, that just doesn't serve you super precision on a silver platter. It's a very easy car to drive and to live with for everyone. And in this day and age, as you say, fossil-driven engines that want to inspire you and give you some charm and feeling. And a V8 of this kind, well, that gives you plenty of that. And also on the highway, when you drive at higher speeds, it's a quiet, nice cabin. So you can just go for miles on and on. And this sportier setting that it has as well. Even when you drive in sport and even in track, it's not that juddery, and it doesn't hit you back that hard. It is more planted when you want to thrash it a bit, but it still has that comfy feeling. This engine, yeah, it's above a liter every 100 kilometers combined consumption. But at the motorway, as you drive 120 or something like that, it's about a liter, maybe a bit under, which is all right, but you live on the power and the torque in this car, so you often don't need to rev it all the way out, and you can stick to a gear to keep the momentum going. It's more of a car that wants to have rather long stretched roads. So what we got here is that 5-liter naturally aspirated V8 engine, which produces 460 horsepower, the same as in the Bullet. That means 10 horsepower more than the regular GT one. So you get 529 newton meters of torque, 0 to 100 in 4.4 seconds with that automatic 10-speed transmission, which is in this one. The manual gearbox, that does it in 4.7 seconds. But that manual gearbox, well, that's the thing that you should have, and especially that sledgehammer of a one. The Mach-1 suspension is bolted to the GT350's sub and rear frame, and it features Ford's latest spec of MagnaRide dampers, which offers 3 different modes: normal, sport, and track. So details are these stripes along the hood, down on the sides here, and also this color called Fighter Grey, which I think suits the car extremely well, together with these black nuances and stripes. In the front you have the 3D mesh shark nose grille, and also a rear diffuser borrowed from the Shelby GT500. Standard pack with this one comes with these 19-inch alloy wheels. And you got these grabby and really strong Brembo brakes, with the calipers painted in orange. That GT emblem on the back is gone. Instead you get this written Mach-1, which is also written here. There is a so-called handling package which you can get for this car. I don't know if you can get it here in Sweden, but then you get wider wheels, an extended front splitter, and a gurney flapped rear spoiler. So that even gives you a little more for the track. The boot capacity is 408 liters, so it's not that bad compared to a BMW 4 Series, which takes 445 liters. The only small frustration back there is how it's shaped, the opening. So it's rather difficult if you want to put in some wide stuff. But you can fold the rear seats if you want to push some longer stuff forward. So the starting price for the Mach-1 here in Sweden is 748,800 Swedish crowns. This 6th generation, well, it's the outgoing one. The 7th generation has come, but not in Sweden yet, so we're waiting for that one. So S550 is the code for this one. You never get bored of driving these cars because they're fun. And you know, for the enthusiast that likes a Mustang, this is the best one yet. So it goes out with a great boom of great performance, great handling, but as you start pushing it, it changes gears rather quickly, this automatic gearbox. So it's not that bad, but you want to be involved a bit more in this one because it's a very involving engine, so it sits better with that manual gearbox. 4.4 seconds, it's a bit faster than the manual gearbox. Got a lot of momentum and it spins out, then it just pushes on. So when the surface is rather even, it works very, very well from corner to corner, but it's a bit worrying when it starts to get a bit uneven and it jumps a little from side to side, but it's a lot more connected feel in this Mach-1. In here, it's much the same as in any other Mustang. It's more or less carried over from the other ones, aside from some more aluminium trim accents. And that you also get this plaque, which says Mach-1 number 438 chassis. A bit plastic, of course, we know that from before, but you just buy into that. It's okay. It's a bit American. This feels a bit cheap with almost, you know, stickers put on here. The buttons are big on the steering wheel. You feel them very well, they have good feedback, the indicators, and it's well laid out and very track focused. But I like the graphics in this cluster, but it's always like you need to push OK in every situation as you do something new here. Even when you step in, you need to push OK, there's no people belted here, it's okay for that, it's okay for that, very American safety-like. The system, well, it has a couple of years on it, but I think it works well. You know, it's not sluggish. It's solid in its feel, and it feels like you don't miss any of these touches that you do on this screen. easy to connect your phone, easy to get into navigation. If you want to use your climate control from here, that is very logically laid out. But of course you do it here. These are a bit flimsy and a bit small, these buttons here, so you can push them sometimes. But as a driver and a owner of a car, you always get to learn this stuff as usual. You got some cup holders here. A real classic handbrake. A little storage here. And the vision out is really, really good. I tend to sit a bit too high. I would like to sit a bit lower, but it works fine. The Recaro seats, they are just super comfortable, and they're very comfortable to cruise for longer in. I drove a little longer with this car, and you know, it's very, very relaxed. You get these switches, which you only can push upward, so you can't push them down if you want to go back to the previous setting. So you need to go through the whole setup again. And that is if you want to change the steering from comfort to normal to sport, or if you want to set the normal, sport plus, race, drag race, snow and wet. And then you can get into changing the exhaust note. So if you don't want to wake up the neighbors, you can get into quiet mode, and it won't shout that loud. And you got some of the track apps as well. So you got acceleration timer, you got braking performance if you want to measure that, and you got line lock. In this car, I would prefer the manual gearbox. I want to be a bit more involved, but that one is also, you know, a bit tougher. But having it as a daily driver, it's a really good daily driver. I think the automatic gearbox might suit it rather well. I think it does, but it lives its own life in some way. Sometimes it want to change, sometimes it doesn't, and yeah, you can get into the manual mode and then you can stick to your gears. Climbing into the back seat. It's not that bad. Let's just see. Yeah. Because, yeah, sure. You sit in a bit, you know, cramped position back here, but it works. Well, you have your head hitting this glass here a bit. So, well, claustrophobic? A bit, but it's more for kids, this one. If you want to put a baby seat back here, there's ISOFIX, but it might be a bit of a hassle. But it's there, and that's good. So it's still better than a 911's back seat. The turning feel is better thanks to this intermediate, stiffer steering shaft compared to the GT. It has a mild feel of understeer. Sure, it's got some oversteer. You can neutralize it by pushing it out if you want, but a bit wider tires would sit a bit better in this one because it's a heavy car in the front with that V8. So that's the thing with the EcoBoost 4-cylinder engine that some of the previous ones had in the GT, that it gives it a bit better turn-in. But, you know, give and take here. If you want the power, well, this Mach-1 has got you set up rather good. So you would need that handling package for a bit wider tires. But that's what I love about these cars. You need to struggle. You need to know that it's a bit of a battle to make it very efficient. But I did set it on track, and it worked very well there. So you can feel that it's a car that has been a bit more modified for the track. Works on the road, but demanding B roads, well, maybe not the best, even though it's better. Feels like this Magna ride, well, it has some good grip. It's not that bad. And you just floor it, this 5-liter V8. It pushes on, 460 horsepower, works well here. Good grip, and this gearbox works a bit better here when you can push it out a bit more. Use them. Changes direction rather well. The steering is, yeah, and the brakes, they are powerful when you need them. And it steers in rather well. You got this oversteer feeling. And on the brakes, this is pretty agile. I like it. Works a lot better on the track. And I must say that all of a sudden it comes alive, this gearbox. It's a bit more sharp, especially in track mode. I enjoy this one. It's fun. You know, Mustangs are really not meant to set on the racetracks, but with this one, it's joy. I like it.